Good. So we have the equivalent of our arms in the straps or single leg work springs, which is 2 red on stot equipment. Foot bar is up. We're going to start sitting on the reformer facing towards the back of the reformer. Obviously, if anything doesn't feel good, don't just keep doing it. Let me know. Feel free to unmute yourself at any point if you have questions, and put your feet on the floor. If you're on a lower reformer, it just means your feet will be higher than mine are. Grab a hold of the shoulder rest, so scooch close enough that you can hold on to the shoulder rest, and round your lower back and kind of just move around a little, stretch into some different places that feel good to your lower back. So you're scooping your lower spine out, you're pushing your lower back towards the foot bar, and you're just kind of hanging out in that stretch. Take a couple breaths there, and then sit back up nice and tall. And then you might have to scoop back a little bit. You want to be close enough to the foot bar. You're going to reach your arms forward, round your lower back. You'll feel your upper back bump into the foot bar. So go scooch back far enough you can bump into it. Yeah. And then once you figure out the distance, reach your arms overhead, circle your arms around, and then roll back up to sitting. So we're just mobilizing our lower backs. Make sure your feet are on the floor. Yeah, round back through your lower back. Your mid back, like bra strap area above your bra strap would hit the bar, circle around, and flex back forward and up. And we'll do that a couple more times, just trying to get our backs moving a little bit to start. Reaching the arms up overhead, circling around, using the abdominals to sit back up. One more time on your own timing. Reaching back, reach the arms overhead, and circle around. And then you're going to come onto your hands and knees, hands under your shoulders, knees under your hips. Round your back up towards the ceiling. Hands on the side of the shoulder rest, somewhere where there's room. Press the floor away, scoop your lower back up towards the ceiling, and then lengthen back out to one long line. Just do that a couple times, just rounding through the spine, scooping up, lift. Good. And then lengthen back from tail to head to one long line. Last time, round your back up towards the ceiling, push down into the shins, and then lengthening back to one long line. Bring your knees all the way together and try to keep from shifting side to side. You're just going to reach one arm forward. You should feel like your core has to engage to keep you from shifting side to side. And then as you alternate between arms, you're trying to not shift backwards, because if you shift your hips back too far, you won't really feel any abdominal work. So keeping your torso really stable, reaching one arm forward, setting it down. Then the other arm reaches forward and set it down. If you don't feel anything, make sure your knees are all the way together. Make sure your legs are squeezed together, and try not to shift side to side. Put your hands not in the center of the shoulder rest, but to the side of them, so that you have to have your arms apart and your legs together, which is harder. Good. And one more time. Finish up even on both sides. Sit back into a little shell stretch. We'll add to this later. And then we're going to come to laying on our backs with our heels up on the bar. So putting your heels onto the bar. Headrest is all the way down, legs parallel. Round your pelvis under and roll your hips up. Open across the front of the hips. Push the carriage out, lowering the pelvis a little bit. Lift the pelvis by bending the knees and pulling the carriage back in. And then roll down through the spine again. And tip towards your belly button, roll up, push out, lower your pelvis, lift your pelvis so you're in as straight a line as you can create from shoulders to knees, and then roll all the way back down. Do that a couple more times. I'm going to watch. So push out, roll back in, and then roll back down. Yeah. Try to get the carriage to come all the way into where it stops against the machine. Push out. Juin, think of lifting your hips up higher, higher, higher. Yeah. And now roll back down, keeping it against the stopper. And then roll back up again. Don't push out until your hips are up. Yeah, there. Push out with the hips up. And press back in and roll back down. Once you get the carriage back in, your hips are going to come way up. You're going to stay there. Just try to lift one foot off the bar without anything changing. Try to keep your hips up. Lift the other foot, alternating between legs. Trying to keep your hips up as high as you can. You're trying to open across the front of the hips. The springs are kind of light, so the machine will move around on you. You're trying to keep it from moving. And just do 2 more, connecting to the back of the legs. And then when you're even on both sides, roll back down and grab the straps. We're going to put the straps on your feet. You can adjust the headrest any way you like. Now you're going to put your feet into the straps, press your legs out on the diagonal, out over the foot bar. Yeah, exactly. So start with just a few leg circles. So you're keeping your pelvis down. We're going to be turned out and we're going to circle the legs around. Yeah, keep the knees really straight. See if you can straighten your knees more than you think. And you're turned out, so your knees and your toes are away from the midline. And reverse the direction, just a few, trying to keep the pelvis down, circling around, and last one. Press the legs down on the diagonal, squeeze your inner thighs together. You're in that V position with your feet. Bend your legs into a diamond shape with the knees turned out, the heels stay together. Push back out to straight legs, open, close the legs. And then as you do that a couple times, try to make the open close quicker so that it becomes that feet exercise where we're using our inner thighs to stop the heels from smacking into each other. Bend in, press out, open, close. Bend in, press out, open, close. Bend in, press out, open, close. Nice. Three more. And last one. Keep your legs turned out and just lift your legs up towards the ceiling, keeping your butt down, your knees really straight. Press your legs back down, rotate your legs to parallel and lift them back up towards the ceiling. And then alternate between those two positions. So you're turned out, the legs go up and down, you're parallel and the legs go up and down. Lift and lower, trying to connect to the back of the legs to move and rotate to parallel, lift and press down, rotate, turned out, lift and press down. A couple more. I'm trying to feel like you're lengthening through the back of the legs, getting the hamstrings to get longer. Yeah, it's totally fine to go at your own timing. In all of these classes, I'm going to try my best to layer the exercises so that you have different options that'll work hopefully for everybody. And one more time. And then bend your legs into tabletop. Separate your legs about as wide as the reformer. Then push the carriage back out so you're reaching towards the corners of the foot bar. Then the legs come back in. So bend into tabletop, separate the legs, push out towards the corners of the bar, the legs come back in. So it's sort of a strange circular motion. Bend in, press out and around. Bend in, separate, reach towards the corners of the bar, bring the legs together. Bend in, separate, reach towards the corners of the bar together. Trying to find the circularity in the hip joint. Sweeping through the legs. I'm starting to make it a little smoother. Reaching through the legs. Three, two, and last one. And then bend your legs, take your feet out of the straps. You can put the straps back on the shoulder rest, roll off to the side, and you can lift the platform up and switch to a half spring. We're not going to use the platform for right this second, so you can put it down on the floor. If you have a block or something to put under your head, you can grab that. And we're going to come to a little bit of side lying leg work. So laying on your side with your head on the block or a ball or a pillow, just a half spring. So almost the lightest spring you have, very light. Take and put your top foot in the loop of the strap and press your leg out towards the reformer corner. Yeah, exactly. Perfect. And then reach the leg forward, straight forward. Press it towards the corner of the bar a couple times. Super simple. Keep your knee straight. So if your knee bends, then the front of the leg is going to take over and try to do the work. I want you to feel the back of the hip. So look down at your knee and double check that it's straight. So as your leg goes forward and as your leg goes back, you're trying to keep long through that leg, only going as far as you really can. Keep it straight. Do 3 more like this. Hopefully you feel some work in the back of the hip. Good. Trying to not let gravity kind of sink your leg down. So you're keeping your foot at sit bone height. Last one like this. Then hold your foot towards the corner of the foot bar, bend your knee in and press it out a couple times. If you like to alternate between parallel and turned out, you may, but you're welcome to just stay in parallel if you're still sorting this movement out. Deep crease in the front of the hip, press towards the corner of the bar. Deep crease in the front of the hip, press towards the corner of the bar. Yeah. And when you do the parallel version, try lowering your foot more to sit bone height, because I think that's giving it the look of internal rotation, and it's just because the foot is a little high. Yeah. 4, 3, 2, and 1 more time. Once your foot is out towards the corner of the foot bar, circle your leg about the size of a ball, basketball or something, circling towards the corner of the foot bar, trying to connect to the back of the hip. 2, and last one, reverse 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend that leg back in. Take the strap in your hand and either keep both legs bent on top of each other or straighten the top leg out. It can be under or above the foot bar. It depends on how wide your hips are. Press your arm down into the loop and then reach it forward and press back towards your hip. So it's not super heavy. If you need to change the springs, feel free to adjust. But I want it to feel easy enough that you feel like you can keep the movement happening continuously and you don't get tired right away. And press. And then start to take it into a circle, keeping tension in the rope the whole time. If you want to make it just a little heavier, you can always fold the strap over and it adds resistance for you. Circling around. Good. That's it, nice. And reverse your circles. Keep your elbows straight. If you have straps that have 2 loops, hold the shorter loop. Generally, the shorter loop is for the hands and the longer loop is for the feet. It's not always true, but in general, you'll get better tension that way. And then once you get your arm back to your side, bend and straighten your elbow a couple times, bend and press. You might feel the bottom hip working just to hold the legs where they are. That's okay. Has to work to help you stabilize. Again, if it's a little too light, you can just fold the strap in half and hold on a little higher up onto the rope. It'll make it heavier for you. And press. Good. 4, 3, 2, and last one. And then bring the carriage all the way back in. Keep that strap and you're gonna sit facing the side, sitting cross-legged. Hold on to the strap And use your abdominals to rotate your upper body towards the side. If you need to sit on a platform, you can. Use your abs to rotate. Yeah. As you're sitting here, see if you can think of your hands staying in line with the center of your chest so that your arms aren't just moving by themselves, but your upper body is rotating from the abdominals. And pull yourself around with your abdominals. Nice. Good, Ginge. And 4 more. And 1 last time. And then holding the strap in the hand closer to the foot bar, press your elbow out to the side. Try to stop and start here in this position. You're going to try to push your arm out towards horizontal and bend it back in. It's okay if you can't go the whole range. We're not going to do 1,000 of these. Push and pull. Yeah. See if you can hold your elbow up a little higher. Yeah, there you go. Good. And now hold it there. Don't move the upper arm and just move the lower arm. Hard, I know. Use a little momentum. If it's too slow, it's really difficult. Last 2, good. And last 1, and then put that strap back. You can put the strap all the way down and you're gonna roll over to lay on your other side. So you're laying on the second side. You'll put your top foot in the loop of the strap. Once your top foot is in the loop of the strap, reach that leg out towards the corner of the foot bar, bend the bottom leg, straight leg goes forward and back a few times. Reaching the leg straight forward and pressing it back. Good. As your leg goes forward and back, try to keep your pelvis really stable. Good. Laying on your side. Long through that top leg. Yeah, now push your leg back towards the foot bar and then reach it forward. Yeah, so it's not going up and down towards the ceiling. It's going forward towards the wall in front of you and then back towards the foot bar of the reformer. Forward and back. And last 2. And last 1. Then bend your leg into tabletop in front of you. Push your heel out towards the corner of the bar. If you alternated between parallel and turned out on the other side, then go for it here. Otherwise, tabletop, push back towards the corner of the bar. Check in with your lower back and make sure your lower back is staying neutral. It's not changing as you bend and straighten the leg. Good. Few more here. And last one. Hold your leg out towards the corner of the foot bar, 6 circles in each direction. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Reverse. 6, 5, 4, 3. And then bend your leg in. You can take your foot out of the strap, either with the top leg bent or straight. Take the strap into your hand, press your arm down towards your hip, then reach your arm straight forward, anchoring through the shoulder blade, reaching forward and pressing towards the hip. And then after you do this a couple times and get that motion going, start to take this into a circle. So the arm goes up to the ceiling and around towards the wall in front of you, up to the ceiling and around. Trying to feel that connection through the back of the shoulder. Again, if you need to make the tension a little heavier, you can just hold up higher on the rope, will do the trick. Reverse the direction, circling around, pressing towards your hip. And one last time. Press your arm towards your hip, bend and straighten your elbow. So tricep press, bend and straighten, trying to not move the upper arm, just moving the elbow wide across the front of the collarbone, bend and straighten. 4 more. Two more. And last one. And then you can swing the legs forward to sit up carefully. Sit facing the side, hold onto the strap, reach the other hand around, and then using your abdominals, rotating your torso, exhaling as you turn from the abdominals. If it's a little too light, move a little closer to the foot bar direction. If it's a little too heavy, move towards the shoulder rest. As you're rotating, you're trying to sit up tall and pull yourself around. Good. Few more here. Yeah, try to go all the way back until you bump the stopper and then rotate again. Yeah, full range. All the way back till you bump the stopper and around. Good. Last one. Then keep the strap in the foot bar arm. Press your elbow out to the side. Leave your elbow where it is and try to push the arm out. Bend at just the elbow. Lots of shoulder work, but it should feel like you're just moving from the elbow. The rest is stabilizing from the shoulder. Bend and press. Bend and press. Four more. 4, try to keep that elbow lifted. 3, 2, and last one. Good, and then you can put the strap back on the shoulder rest. Come to kneeling with your knees up against the shoulder rest and your hands out on the rails. So you're facing the back of your reformer. Round your back up towards the ceiling and press the knees forward, scooping up through the abdominals. If it's a little too light, scoot your hands forward, round your back and try again. You can always add more springs if you need. Rounding the spine. It should feel like your abdominals are working. So try not to move at the shoulders. Try to move at the hip joint. So you've got to open and close the front of the hip joint. Round the spine up towards the ceiling. Round your back like a cat back. Round your back up to the ceiling as much as you can. One more. Stay in the round shape the whole time. And then return. Take both hands to one side. Now I want you to pull from your arms. So the lower body is more or less the same. I want you to side bend. So you're shortening your waist on one side and then returning. So you're working on curving your waist to the side to pull. So it should feel like that side of the waist changes. Side bend and side bend and side bend. One more time. And then take your hands over to the other rail. Same thing, other side. Side bending to pull. Feeling like your shoulders are curving around towards your hips to pull you. Two more. Last one. And then sitting back towards your heels, stretching back. And we're going to come to 2 red springs. So really heavy springs, same as what we started with. It needs to be heavy enough that the carriage doesn't move easily. If you're not on a stop piece of equipment, just make sure it doesn't move around easily. We're gonna go into elephant. So you're gonna put your hands on the foot bar and your feet up against the shoulder rest and round your back up to the ceiling. Yeah, and once you're there, rounding your spine, pushing the carriage back and feeling like you're lifting your toes as you bring the carriage back underneath you. So you push back from the very top of your hamstrings, your back is rounded, and then pull up on your abdominals to come back in. So your pelvis isn't moving. Yeah, see if you can round your spines a little bit more. Feel like the sternum, the front of the chest goes up into the ceiling a little bit more. Rounding, pull the carriage all the way into the stopping position. All the way into the stopping position. Shift your pelvis back over your feet. So your pelvis is as far over your feet as it can be when you start. And you're round. Yeah. Last two. And then set your knees down. Switch to 1.5 spring. So red and a blue, or just a half spring lighter than what you just had. And then stand back up carefully. One foot is going to be forward, one foot is going to be back. So you're in kind of a staggered stance. Yeah. The front, yeah, exactly. Bring your toe all the way to the front edge of the carriage. So you're going to push back with the back leg, bending the front knee. And then you're going to bend the back knee as you pull the carriage back in. So one leg is straightening as the other is bending. And you're just trying to open up your calves a little. As the carriage comes in, if you want to lift your toes, you can do that as well. It'll be a bigger stretch. One leg is straightening. Yeah, Ginge, as the carriage comes in, you've got to bend the back knee and sit back towards. Yes, try to straighten that front leg. I know you're trying. That's good. And then push, pull, push, pull. Last one. And then switch which leg is back, switch which leg is forward. And again, push back, pull in, push back. Yeah, one leg is bending, the other is straightening. Try to get the front leg to straighten as you bring the carriage in. The front leg bends as you push it out. Your arms are kind of just bracing the whole time. Push back, pull in, push back, pull in, back. One more time. And then come all the way back in. Set your knees down. Switch to the 2 red springs again. So the half spring heavier. Knee stretches. So round your back. Elbows are bent. Push the carriage out. Pull it in. Yeah. So as you push and pull, it should feel pretty heavy, and that your upper body and torso is staying still. Torso is still. Push out, pull in. Push out, pull in. Round your back as much as you can, like you're getting punched in the stomach the whole time. Good. 4, 3, 2, and last one, and come all the way back in. Step off to the side of the reformer, switch to 1 red spring. So take one of the 2 springs off so you have half the tension. If you're on a lower reformer, your knee won't touch the carriage. If you're on a higher reformer, you may want to stand on a platform, like I'm going to do. 1 foot back, 1 leg forward. Yeah, if you can, hover the back knee up off of the carriage. Yep, and then push the carriage out and pull back in, and then reach your arms forward and back. So we're not doing a passive stretch, we're doing work here. Push, pull, push, pull. Yeah, good. Try to not let your body go up and down. Push, pull. Nice and smooth. And 4, 3, 2, And last one. Then you can set the knee down, add a little bit more tension, and go into that single thigh stretch. So you push the carriage out, your knee can be down, you're just opening the back hip and the hamstring of the front leg, and then bring the carriage back in. Do that one more time. Push out and pull the carriage all the way back in. One more set of those lunges. So take this extra spring off, hover up, push and pull. Either hands on the hips. You could touch the bar with one finger if you need a little help for the balance, or push and pull. Sweeping the arms forward and back, feel the neck long, your whole spine is long, trying to find that stability through the standing hip so the front leg isn't kind of wobbling in and out at all. It's nice and stable. Big range of motion. Good. And then come all the way back in, walk around to the other side. Juan, you might stand on something like this so that it gets you a little higher off the ground, like a yoga block or a book. Try it, it might end up being more work for you in a good way. Okay, so we go to our second side, find that lunge. And hover the back knee up, push out, pull in. Yeah, nice. Yeah, exactly. Anything you've got will help. And then lift your back knee off the carriage, push the back leg out to straight, pull it in. Push, pull. As you push out and in, the front leg is staying the same. Trying to move kind of quickly, push out, pull in. Push out, pull in. If you added arms on the other side, make sure you do here as well. Last one, bring the carriage back in. Add a little bit more spring tension, maybe a half spring or a whole spring more. Push the leg out into your single thigh stretch. Open the hip. Make sure your head isn't getting shoved forward, so connect the back line of the neck into the shoulder girdle in the back. And then come back in. One more time, push the carriage out. Open that back hip. Don't let the head get shoved forward. Yeah, exactly. And then come all the way back in. Take that extra spring off. Hover up. And we go into that push-pull leg press again. Lunge position, back knee is hovering, push out, pull in. It should feel like the standing leg is working a lot. The pushing leg's working for sure too, but mostly in that standing leg. Try not to crash like me. Four more. And last one. And then you can rest. Good. Come off of there. Let's put the foot bar all the way down and switch to whatever springs you need for arms pulling straps. One red on the Sparrow Reformer is pretty generally the right idea. So put the box in the middle. Laying on your chest, slide your thigh on, chest over the front of the box. Grab up onto the ropes. And reach your legs out behind you. Start by just staying neutral, pulling the arms down towards your hips and reaching back forward. Yeah. Grab a hold up onto the ropes, not onto the loops of the straps, so that you're holding the rope. Yeah, it'll be a little more tension. And pull down and back. Try to straighten those knees, everybody. Straighten your legs. Legs are like two skis behind you. Reach. And then if you'd like to add your torso to this, you can start in flexion. Lift through neutral, come up into a little extension, and then flex back over the front of the box. You'd be trying to move your upper back in both directions. into extension and deflection. Nice. If you don't feel the back of your legs working, then you're probably not using the back of the legs to help stabilize the pelvis, and the knees are probably not straight. 2 more of whatever you're doing. Then keep the arms back by the hips, hold them there, bend and straighten the elbows. Bend and press, bend the elbows, straighten the elbows. Your elbows are hovering up at the side of the rib cage. Try to straighten them all the way each time. Reach the top of the head away from the feet. Four more. And then return back down. You can take the straps, you can put them back on the shoulder rests or on the floor. Come off of the box, put the headrest all the way down, and we're gonna put the box into your short box position. So the box is sideways. Whatever your footwork settings are, those are usually where you need to be. And hopefully you have this strap down here at the end of the reformer. You're gonna sit on the reformer on the box and then hook your feet underneath the strap. Yeah, so your toes are underneath the strap, good. Ann and Ginge, you guys are gonna start with round back. So you're just gonna round back, lift the arms up overhead, flex forward, and then stack back up tall. Yeah, back up a little bit, Joanne. There we go. Sit up straight to start, hands on top of each other. Make sure your feet are connected under that strap. Round the pelvis under, shorten the abs from the front of the body. Stay there, lift the arms up overhead. Obviously that strap is holding you up, and then come forward over your legs and sit back up nice and tall. Do that a couple more times, rounding back. Spin your pelvis underneath you, lift the arms up overhead, deepen your abdominals like you're getting punched in the stomach to come forward over the legs, and then stack up from tail to head. Twice more, rounding back, lift the arms up overhead, scoop the abdominals to come forward over the legs, and sit up nice and tall. Last time, rounding your back, scoop, lift up, and flex over the legs and stack back up nice and tall. Good, you're gonna turn sideways. So keep the top foot under the loop and then turn sideways to face me. Turn your toes forward, tuck your bottom foot underneath. Yeah, and then put your hand out on the rail. So it should feel like the strap is pretty taut right here. If I relax my legs, then it's not. So you're actively holding the strap and kind of pushing up into it. Yeah, and then just start by doing a little side bend over and then lift back up. I'm letting you use this hand to help you to start on the rail. Go down a little and then lift up. If you want it to be harder, instead of having that hand on the rail, bring the arm in front of you. Side bend and lift up. It should feel like your obliques are working. Side bend, lift. Nice, Ann. Instead of letting your bottom leg be relaxed, make sure your foot is hooked behind the top leg. So you're squeezing your inner thighs together. Should feel very active. 2 more. And last one. And then bring your hand to the front of the box, the other hand to the side, and see if you can just hold there for a second. Try not to be in a side bend. Try to be in a long line. Big long line. Should feel like the top side of your waist is working, 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 working. And then you can either reach the railing or down to the floor and do a big stretch. Whatever you can reach. Walk your hands back up the equipment. Use your abdominals to come back up and turn around to face the other side. Hook your foot underneath the loop of the strap Turn to face the side. Bottom foot is hooked behind the top leg. Top leg is really straight and pushing up into the strap. And you're going over in a side bend, lifting up. If you want, bring the arm to your waist and do it without holding the rail. Basically do what you did on the other side. Big side bend over towards the floor, lift up. Towards the floor, lift. Three more. 3, lift up. 2, and last one. And then bring your top hand to the front of the box and the other hand to the side of the box. See if you can hold yourself. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Either reach towards the floor or towards the rail. Big stretch. Use the arms to support you so you can release a little. And then walk your hands back up the equipment and sit back up. Bring your hands back, your feet back underneath the loops of the strap. So both feet are back under. Bring your arms up overhead. Round your back. So you're scooping. Imagine you're holding something in your hands. Rotate your upper body to one side. Come back to the center. Rotate to the other side. Come back to the center. If you have a dowel that's easy to hold on to or grab, you're welcome to use that. But otherwise, just keep the arms overhead. Rotate. Come back forward. Scoop up and over the legs like you're doing a big hamstring stretch. And then stack back up and lift the arms overhead. Round the pelvis under. Roll back. Deepen the abdominals. Twist to one side. Just the upper body's moving. Try to round your lower back a little bit more. And rotate. And center. And rotate. And one more each way. Rotate. Should feel like your abdominals are working here. And then scoop up and over your legs. And stack back up to vertical. Good, you can come off of here and take your box off. We're done with the box for today. Put the box back underneath the reformer. We'll bring the foot bar back up. So the foot bar up, you can stay in the settings you're on, that'll work. And 2 red springs. So the same as we started, those kind of single leg work or arm springs. 2 red springs, head rest up, hands on the foot bar, long stretch. So you're gonna put your feet together in the crease of the headrest. So you're not at the shoulder rest, you're at the headrest. You find one long line, and then if you choose, you can push the carriage out a little from the shoulders and pull it back in. Yeah, exactly, or just stay and hold. Lift the hips, Ginge. Lift your hips more. You're sinking. Lift them. Yes. As you're moving, you're not moving by sinking into the hips or the shoulders. You're moving by pushing through the arms. And then you can bring the carriage back in. Set the knees down. If you'd like to focus more on abs, you can lighten your springs, a quarter or a half spring. Otherwise, do exactly what you just did. So with the heavier springs, we have a little bit more support for the abdominals, but it's a little bit more work for the shoulders. Pushing out, pulling back in. Pushing out, pulling back in. One more, and then you can bring the carriage back in and lay all the way down onto your back. So balls of the feet on the bar, just push the legs out to straight and go into running, nice and easy. Lower lift the heels, moving through the back of the ankles. Trying to keep the pelvis and torso still. And then bend the knees, come all the way back in. Reach back, make sure the headrest is down now. Heels on the bar. You're gonna think of healing balloons attached to the front of the hips. You're gonna lift your hips like an inch off the carriage, really low, super low. And then push out and pull in a few times in a row. As you push out and pull in, it doesn't look like my hips are hovering, but they are. It's okay if your flesh is touching the carriage, but you don't have weight into it. Push, pull, push, pull. Pull in from the back of the legs. Last two. And last one, bring the carriage all the way back in and then set the hips down. Then from here, like we did earlier, you're gonna roll your hips up, press your hips up as high as you can, shorten ribs to hips. Push out and pull in a couple times in a row before you roll back down. So you let your hips lower and you lift them as you come back in. So each time you pull the carriage back in, think of lifting your hips a little bit higher. Lift the hips higher. Lower, lift the hips higher to come in. Lower, lift the hips higher to come in. Try to get the back of the hamstrings working. If anyone wants to lift one leg and do this with one leg, you're welcome to, but that's not necessary. You should feel something either way. If you're doing one leg, switch to the other leg. 4, 3, 2, and last one. Come all the way back in. Roll down through your spine. Take your heels wide to the corners of the bar. Bring your knees together and rotate your feet. Roll your hips up, roll your hips back down. So knees come together to roll your hips up. Knees go apart to roll your hips back down. Knees come together to roll up. Knees go apart to roll down. Twice more, knees come together to roll up. Knees go apart to roll down. And last one, knees together to roll up. Knees apart to roll back down. Good, grab the straps off your shoulder rests and put them in your hands. You can have the headrest any way that you like. Once you have the straps in your hands, imprint and lift one leg up to tabletop and then the other. If this tension feels like it ends up being too heavy, feel free to adjust. But press the arms down along the sides and then lift the arms back up. As you do this a few times, I want you to alternate between arms going straight down and straight up and a tricep press. So bend and straighten the elbows, then the arms go up and down. Nice. If anyone needs more challenge, you're welcome to add one leg extending and bending or both. Try to connect to the back of the shoulders. Nice strong push. Good. So you're doing one where the elbows bend and one where the elbows stay straight. One where the elbows are bent, one where the elbows stay straight. Last two. And last one. Finish everything up here and then set your feet down. Give yourself a little rock from side to side. We're gonna add our upper body flexing up to this. If it's too heavy, feel free to adjust, but start with the arms up towards the ceiling, legs tabletop. Start to press the arms down and then follow the arms down by flexing your upper body up, and then lift the arms and lower the upper body. Good, do that a couple times. Press down, flex up, that looks straight, and then lower back down. Try to make it so your feet aren't so high that you see them. Yeah, exactly. And squeeze your legs all the way together. Good. As you come up, make it happen from the distance between the ribs changing, not from just your neck. And a couple more times, press down and flex up and lower down. If you'd like to add to this on the next one, once you get up, extend the legs out and bend them back in, then lift the arms up to lower down. Press the arms down, flex up, reach the legs long, bend them back in, lower down. And do that a couple more times. Flexing up. If it's too much with the flexion, then keep the head down. Good. And again, press the arms down, flex up, extend the legs. If you would like to add to that, we're gonna open, close the legs once they're straight as well. Here we go. So press the arms down, extend the legs, open, close the legs, bend the knees, lower down. So your coordination exercise, open, close, bend the knees, although I'm doing it with straight arms today. Straight, open, close, bend the knees, lower down. Arms and legs straighten, open, close, bend the knees, lower down. And 4 more like that. 4, bend in, lower down. And 3, straighten the legs, open, close. Good, everyone, really nice. And 2 more, press through the arms and legs, open, close, bend the knees, bend, lift the arms up. Last one, press down, extend the arms and legs, open, close the legs, bend the knees, lift the arms, lower down. Then 4 big arm circles, circling your arms around. You can choose to add your upper body flexing up as your arms come towards your hips, or stay in neutral the whole time with your head down. Yeah, try to keep your legs in an active position so they're not kind of collapsed, but they're in a real tabletop. Legs are squeezed together. Reverse the direction, circling around. 4. Add your upper body if you so choose. 3. Good. 2. Big reaching circles. And last one. And then set the straps back down. Roll off to your side and come back onto your hands and knees. Let's switch to 1.5 springs, a red and a blue, or slightly lighter than what you just had. So start in neutral with your hands on the foot bar and just round your back up towards the ceiling and then lengthen back out. Do that a couple times, rounding your back. Keep yourself sitting towards your heels as much as you can. Feet up against the shoulder rests. Yeah, we're gonna try to go into down stretch, which we've been working on lately. So you're gonna start in the cat back, round back shape. You're gonna start to press out from tail to head and then push your hips out until you're in a kind of extension position. Pull the shape back in and out 3 times. Push and pull it in. And on the last one, you push out, round your back and scoop the carriage back in. Nice. And then from tail to head, you start to press out and push out through the hips, bow the spine. Lift, send your hips forward as you come in. Think of lifting the pelvis towards the foot bar. On your last one, you push the carriage out. You stay there, round and pull back in. Last time, from tail to head, you lengthen out, then press the carriage out. It's all one fluid motion. You lift and press and open across the collarbones. Press the carriage out the last time, round the spine and come all the way back in. Good. Awesome, everybody. So feel free to do anything else you need, but I wanted to just go through some fundamentals today and kind of touch on a little bit of lots of different positions. Hopefully you felt like you got some work in there. Thank you guys for coming.